Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this is a video for Venus and Virgo. This is a series that I'm doing of Venus in the different signs. And you can find out what your Venus is in by clicking on the link below this video that has a list of all the dates of Venus entering each sign. And the other thing I wanted to tell you is that Venus can never be very far from your sun sign. It can only be like 2 signs behind in the same sign or 2 signs ahead. And so if you're sun in Virgo, you can't have Venus in Pisces, which is the opposite sign of Virgo, for instance. So just want to tell you about that. And the other thing is that I have a special right now in my natal chart interpretation. I'm providing a link for that below as well. But so I've been writing out some of the different characteristics with Venus and Virgo. I'm also going to talk about the different combination of sun signs with Venus and Virgo, because that's always an interesting addition to things. So Venus being the love nature, being the way that others perceive you in romantic relationships, being the artistic sensibilities that you have, how you express yourself creatively, what kind of art that you enjoy, what kind of pastimes, amusements, fun stuff that you like to do. With Venus and Virgo, we're talking about someone that is very businesslike, that is very hardworking, very interested in doing things that are practical, because Virgo rules the 6th house, which has to do with work. And the difference between the 6th house and the 10th house, which is career, is that work is the actual work, the actual effort that you put into what you do. The 10th house of career is more of the glory, this is my interpretation. It's more of the recognition you get. So it's not necessarily rolling up your sleeves and doing the actual work. It's the reputation you get from it. It's the recognition. And so with the 6th house, the person is very serious about what they're doing, and it's all business. It's also the house of health. So Virgo is also connected to that. And with Venus and Virgo, you can have a person who is very practical in how they express themselves in romantic relationships. And if we're talking about giving gifts, a Venus and Virgo person could be the type of person who would rather give a Vitamix blender to their beloved than a diamond ring. And that might cause problems for somebody who is a sun in Leo, who sees it as some kind of affront. How dare they, as some kind of an insulting thing. Even somebody who is a sun in Cancer, who normally has a very practical mindset as well, might see it as unsentimental and therefore insulting. The love nature of somebody with Venus and Virgo is very cautious because they feel like they might be taken advantage of. And ironically, they can be. How this happens, who knows, because they do tend to be on the lookout for it. But it can happen because Virgo is the sign of the servant, and so Venus and Virgo loves to serve, but when taken too far, the person can become a virtual doormat to their partner. If the partner is somebody who is not appreciative of what the Venus and Virgo person is doing for them. Venus and Virgo can be loyal to their partner, and they can actually meet their partner through work situations. And there's also this critical nature that can come through and be like analyzing the other person and seeing if they have any flaws, and almost like using that as an excuse not to get involved with anyone. But it can be kind of like this cover for a form of insecurity, because Virgo is not necessarily a very confident sign. Virgo people, and I'm using the term Virgo to maybe speak for the sun sign Virgo if they happen to have Venus in Virgo. But even like anyone who has Venus in Virgo might have insecurity when it comes to their love life and be nitpicky in an attempt to justify being alone. Remember that in the major arcana of the Tarot, the Hermit card is connected to Virgo. So there is a solitary nature that is associated with Virgos. And Venus in Virgo, there could be like the oh gosh, is it politically correct to say spinster, the eternal spinster, or the eternal bachelor, where the person never marries or they marry very late in life because of this critical spirit. The other thing too is that a Venus in Virgo person can be overly concerned about hygiene of their partner and if their partner is showing proper etiquette. And this can be part of that critical nature. There's really a coldness with Venus in Virgo. So if somebody is a sun in Leo, for instance, which is a fire sign, they can have a bit of a chilly romantic nature with the Venus in Virgo. So that can kind of lend itself to problems when it comes to love. And actually, Venus in Virgo is in its fall. We have particular signs where Venus is in exaltation. In other words, it's its strongest expression. And this is true of all the planets, but for Venus, the exaltation is in Pisces. And because of that, the opposite sign is the fall, and that is Venus in Virgo. And so you do tend to see that the person may be successful in many areas of their life, but they may find that their love life tends to be more challenging. But that doesn't mean that they cannot find love. It just may mean that they have to choose more carefully, and they have to also look at their own attitudes more closely to see if they are pushing away potential partners with certain negative characteristics. So I'm going to go into the different sun signs and how this all plays out. If the sun is in Cancer, there will be more of that work and money connection to the person, where the person may be very interested in almost like a business alliance with their beloved, where there's such a practical money-making energy that they may want to get with somebody who wants to start a business, and maybe they even meet somebody while they're trying to launch a business. But there's going to be a family-oriented tendency because this is a double feminine energy of the Sun and Venus, because water signs are feminine and so are earth signs like Virgo. The person is going to have a more detached emotional nature. They're not going to be as excessively emotional. I'm talking about the Cancer sun sign. And they may be more businesslike, more critical even in their how they assess their partner, and it's going to increase the serious nature. As I said, there may be like a workaholic tendency, or at least they are very concerned about their careers and their money situation. So they're going to tend to gravitate towards people who share that. Now, if the sun is in Leo, this may make the person a little bit more toned down. They may not be so flamboyant. It's like the Venus in Virgo grounds them to some extent. They may be more practical. Their love nature may be less romantic. With that sun in Leo, there's a romantic nature, but the Venus in Virgo may make them more serious in love and practical and more work-oriented. Again, there may be a tendency to meet somebody through the work and to really maybe even want to be connected business-wise. Leo is actually a sign associated with someone who is a great leader, and so with Venus and Virgo, there can be that kind of business-like approach to romance even. And they might not be as free spending as the typical Leo person, more economical, and even less of a social kind of a person, maybe more home-oriented and more family-oriented. If they are, they're going to run a tight ship and be very organized in their family structure. And then let's look at if somebody is a Virgo sun and a Venus in Virgo. I think that might increase their solitary nature for sure, make them less romantic, make them more reserved. I always think of Virgos as wallflowers. I actually have the moon in Virgo. And that analytical part, that kind of modest part is definitely a part of my personality. And I am not somebody, I'm kind of nondescript sometimes. You think of Virgo wearing glasses and things like that. And so this kind of a person with the sun in Virgo, remember that Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So there's kind of that intellectual, that intelligence that is happening. And they want that in their partner as well. And I don't think I mentioned that, and I should have. But just being very reserved and practical, serious, hardworking. And, Virgo people can be quite amusing, actually. They can be very witty, but there does tend to be, because it is that earth element, this overall desire to be of service, to be of use, to be productive, and not just to be kind of, fooling around. Like the other Venus sign that is ruled by Mercury is Venus in Gemini, and that tends to be more flirtatious, more interested in using wordplay, especially in their flirtations. But, Venus in Virgo is more down to brass tacks, being an earth sign. So I would say that if your sun is in Virgo as well as Venus in Virgo, you're going to have to really make an effort to get out and not to just keep to yourself. If you're looking for love, that is. If you're not looking for love, then it's no problem. But if you're looking for love, you're going to want to do that. And you may have an inclination to kind of keep to yourself. And you're going to have to also think about how you can connect to your partner romantically. You don't have to be corny. You don't have to, be all ooey gooey. But just understanding that it's important to express yourself emotionally and also to be able to let your partner know that you care about them, that you think they're wonderful. That is very important. You have to kind of curb that tendency to criticize, because that can actually be a defensive posture, whether you know it or not. And you can feel all superior to the other person, but then you can also feel like you're alone. And you may cope very well with being alone, but there may come a time when you want to have a partner and you don't understand why it's not happening. So that's why I'm bringing that up. If your sun is in Libra, this can really make you more economical, as well as, the influence of having the sun in Leo. Both of these suns can tend to be very free spending, and with a Venus in Virgo, you might be more concerned about dollars and cents, and also about practical things, not necessarily spending money on extravagant gestures. But if you have somebody that you have fallen in love with, you might just be more modest about it and more simple in your show of affection. This can give you a less romantic bent, but it can be a very nice combination, actually, because you can tend to maybe retain a little bit of that love of art and poetry, poetry and things like that, and share this with your beloved, but not necessarily overwhelm them with the kind of theatrics that you might associate with a Venus in Leo, for instance, or an excessive sentimentality like Venus in Cancer. So there can be this subdued romantic nature, maybe more solitary, not dependent on social situations all the time like Libra is wont to do, but very fastidious about appearance and manners. I would say that for the sun in Virgo and the sun in Libra, and also the Venus signs of these two signs, are very offended by people who are rude, who are coarse, and coarse meaning that they don't have home training, that they are very slovenly in appearance, slobs, let's put it that way, who do not have proper grooming. You may be very, very concerned about that. And like I said, with the sun in Virgo, you might want to curb that if that tends to be too much a part of your mentality, because you may push people away with this exacting attitude about that, and it could be quite superficial. It might be just about how they look and not how they're acting, and that is obviously the most important thing. So it's very interesting with Venus and Virgo because of how it expresses itself. And anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and if you'd like a private reading, please click the link below, and it will take you to my website, rainandmoonastrology.com. And take care, you guys. Bye.